possible.
Here. What's up, guys? Happy, I want to say Tuesday, but it's not Tuesday. It's freaking Friday. Happy Friday, March 28th, 2025. Hope you guys enjoyed opening day. It was fun. It was a lot. It was exhausting, but we made it through. Orioles, if you played on the Fanduel slate, they were kind of the play. A pair of homers out of Adley Rutschman and Cedric Mullins. Jordan Westbrook goes yard. Just a really and Tyler O'Neill, six opening days in a row. The pitcher play, if you got there, man, you weren't me, that's for sure. Mackenzie Gore, 13 reasons why you should have played him. Now, funny thing about Mackenzie Gore, other than the fact that I was pretty on the Phillies, is the Alec Boehm. He blamed the strikeouts on the shadows at Nats Park, which is a thing, in the daytime, or stadium creates a shadow over the batter's box, and then you got to deal with the sun, the batter's eye, the pitcher angle, which is weird because after later in the game, especially in extra innings, the Phillies started scoring, so might be something to keep an eye on for Nats day games. I don't want to be too weird about that, but maybe there's an edge in strikeout props for day games and Nats Parks, man. What up, Pojam? What up, Justin Sports? What up, Derek? Grandpa Steve? Eric? I hope you guys are having a good day. We have a much smaller slate today than we did yesterday. Those of you guys that follow baseball, typically what you see every year for baseball is opening day. They try to do everybody. Yesterday, Rockies didn't participate, but they schedule every opening day game, typically in the daytime local time for the stadium, and then at any of the stadiums that could be susceptible to weather, meaning any stadium without a roof or not San Diego, typically gets day 2 of the season off just in case they had to postpone opening day. So day 2 of the regular season is usually your stadium games and San Diego, and that's what we got tonight. I guess LA too. So shouldn't be much of a weather day, all intents and purposes. And it's kind of just like yesterday, man. A lot of these pitchers making their first start, or all but one making their first start. Actually, maybe 2. The Cubs are on the slate. And we're still, trying to get caught up on where the bats are offensively. Yesterday, there wasn't a ton of surprises scoring-wise yesterday. I was kind of expected a ho-hum slate. Not a ton of people popping in the home run radars. We do have a little bit more intel. We do have a little bit of sample size on bullpen usage, but still, there's a lot of bullpen arms that can go 2 days in a row. I don't know. Devin Williams went 30 pitches yesterday, but I guess we're an off day in between tomorrow. We'll see if they put him back out there. But in about a week, Should hit our stride a little bit more when it comes to being able to kind of predict who might be coming out of the bullpen to back up the middle innings. Most of these pitchers I've gone through and swept through their pitch counts, much like yesterday. A lot of between 70 and 90. I don't think I saw anybody that threw 90 pitches in spring here. Yesterday we had a couple. So we probably still expect, the hope that each pitcher gets 5 innings. Hard to put 6 on pretty much anybody on this slate, but there are a couple of wily veterans that might be able to eat some innings. Not a ton of super strikeout aces, but should be interesting. Any more takeaways from yesterday? What a dang lazy mofo. Tears was fun yesterday. Thank you, Padres. Yeah, there were some games that turned into a little bit of low-scoring slugfest, if that makes sense, especially later on in the evening. Luis Severino, that was a lot of fun to watch. Babe, wake up. Severino's throwing frisbees and screaming again. Shout out to him, man. That's a fun player when he's good. Abreu on the Red Sox went nuts. Yeah, all dome games except Cali. Yeah. And then what happened? Let's see. Any surprises pitching wise? I think Mackenzie Gore was obviously the biggest surprise. I'm not gonna full send blaming the sun there, but it did suck for me. I loved the Orioles. The Yankee stack did okay for me. Judgy didn't really deliver at that price point versus what else was out there. But I didn't have a ton of Volpe in my Yankee stacks too, so that kind of hurt when he had a wall scraper. 2 wall scrapers for the Yankees, by the way. Let's see, looking at scoring yesterday. I will say that we did a test run of projections, and the projections really liked Kyle Higashioka and Kevin Pillar as value plays, and they were able to get through to Garrett Crochet. So I am happy about that. If you guys have signed up at MLBgrind.com, you have seen that it has been a very fluid operation, and I've asked and polled people that do sign up, what do you want us to focus on? Whether it be DFS or prop betting or whatever. I think at the foundation of what we're going to do here is make your day-to-day research so much easier, not so much selling you picks and plays and stuff like that, but giving you the resources to be able to look at each game yourself and kind of make some decisions. And I think most people that have subscribed are there for that. But I am here for feedback. You guys sign up and you want a player pool for fantasy or something like that, let me know. I'm really not sure what everyone's motive for early subscriptions are, and then we'll kind of serve what's wanted. Yeah, Sevy broke the levee, and the levee was, yeah, no, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I told you guys I was working on a recap segment. Man, I got 3 or 4 games into editing. I was like, man, this is a lot of games to edit. So I still want to do that, but I had to be honest with myself last night and let myself sleep. So I got a couple minutes of content out of that, but might have to put that on the burner for a couple days as we get everything else going. Anyway, let's do some research here. We're gonna get into tonight's slate. I am not going to dig into that Rockies game. It's not on the main slate for either side. From what I saw, that main slate's going to be pretty symmetrical with NBA today. And then I think DraftKings NBA contest is bigger than the baseball contest is bigger than the basketball contest, which I never thought I'd see that day. So yeah, if you know baseball, you don't need projections. Yeah, you don't. Dude, I wonder what that guy. I don't even remember what he was talking about, but I wonder if he hit. I will say if you're a BVP guy, you got Adley Rutschman against Jose Barrios. That one I don't look at BVP, but when I was doing some research on the highlights, that was his 4th homer off of him. I was like, oh, surprised he just got somebody's number. Anyway, game one, number 1 tonight. We're going back to Toronto, the Orioles and Blue Jays. Charlie Morton taking on Kevin Gausman. Orioles have an implied run total of 4.2. Blue Jays 4.5. Ball was flying yesterday in Rogers Center, so we'll see if we get more of the same today. Charlie Morton taking the bump for the Orioles. He had 4 spring games, 46 pitches in his last 2 games, so wasn't super stretched out. But Charlie Morton is like old, okay? And he throws a lot of curveballs, a lot of stuff that's not super stressed out on his arm. And I would assume that, spring training, it's not about is Charlie Morton making the team. With that said, he's not super exciting to play against the Blue Jays. So while pitch count is in the back of my mind, but even if I give him 70, 80 pitches, how valuable is that? Against the Blue Jays, I'm kind of leaning, I don't really want it. If you dig into his righty splits last season, a sub 20% K rate to righties, would have 156 home run per 9. Did throw strikes, didn't waste a lot of pitches. Heavy ground ball stuff, but still giving up the leaks, right? 49% ground ball rate with a 1.56 home run per 9. Usually doesn't go together, but in Charlie Morton's case, it does. So we do get to open the book on this Blue Jays offense. Yesterday, their only bit of offense, I believe, was a Andres Jimenez 2-run homer. So we'll see if the rest of those bats can wake up here against Morton, who is certainly going to challenge you, put the ball in play. And something to note with contact pitchers, you put them in Rogers Center. Rogers Center plays a little bit different than atypical parks when it comes to the baseball, as they play on turf. So might be a little wrinkle in the defense, but this Orioles team is young and pretty doggone good. So not really that excited to play Morton. One thing I do want to start doing on these streams is maybe making a 4 corners for each game. Right now, Morton is looking like he's in the back. Kevin Gausman on the bump for the Blue Jays. Day 2 starter. He had 3 spring games. On the 17th, he threw 67 pitches. He had 9 strikeouts in 7 innings pitched in spring, 2 homers. Gausman last year was not that great. The year before, his strikeout stuff was there. I say not that great, but for his sake, based on the 2 years prior, was certainly looking more like old Orioles Gausman in terms of expectations and results. A 4.71 expected ERA last season with just a 21.4% K rate. Still had a double-digit swing and strike rate, but 3% less than the year prior. Barrel rate was pushing 10. So after the Orioles offense looked alive and well yesterday, you mix that with these metrics here, probably not going to be that excited to pick on this Orioles team ever this season. But I don't think this is the spot for me to be too invested in Gausman again. I wonder if the field's going to be, I don't say chasing points, but I wonder if the field's going to be running to get to some Orioles after yesterday's explosion. We saw Cedric Mullins the second go nuts. He had 2 homers and a big hit in his first at bat as well. Everyone just looked really, really good at the plate. Adley looked pretty locked in. One thing with Adley on Fanduel, he was pretty low owned. Now, I don't know if that was a people just don't like playing catchers thing on Fanduel, or it was just a wide slate in general. But it was funny looking up at the top of the leaderboard early in the slate, and you saw Adley Rutschman and Austin Wells, and I was like, man, you stacking catchers today? But yeah, I think Orioles are at the top of the food chain for me in interest of this game. Do you guys, should I add a 4 corners to each game? I feel like that might be viable here. Let's go 4 corners, and basically what this is me ranking my interest. So we'll go Orioles offense 1, then Blue Jays, and then Kevin Gausman, and then Charlie Morton. How about I don't know what to call it. 4 corners is dumb because I'm really not gonna play Charlie Morton. Interest ranking. How about that? That sounds better. Was it just a matchup or Springer just mid now? Yesterday he's batting sixth, asking for a friend. Yeah, since the beginning of last year, Springer against righties 230 average. ISO still there, but it has been a pretty rough decline going back a couple seasons. He had just a 101 WRC plus against righties last year. That's not what you want. So, yeah, I would definitely say the decline. Devers versus Coles flashback. Okay, we didn't have to do all that. You find betting in MLB to be more profitable or sustainable than other sports. So I can't put up too much of a front when it comes to sports betting itself because it's illegal in my state. But just knowing people that do sports bet, other than basketball, baseball is not necessarily the most predictive because of the single day variance. But if you just make yourself numb to the daily results and kind of trust the process long term, that's where I think it pays off. Any sport that gives you daily opportunity to attack and refine your process and find some angles, especially with so many different players, like 9 hitters a team to go after total base props, stolen base props, home run, and a lot of those props aren't 1-to-1, like home run odds. There were some people I saw yesterday, like Anthony Volpe. He was like plus 1,050 to homer. So if you find little angles like that, you don't even have, and really just any sport, you don't have to be a winning record bettor. You just have to have plus EV, and you could do that being 1-6 in baseball. So I would say baseball is there's a much larger board to bet in baseball, so that I think more options gives the chance to be more profitable versus other sports, like the first 5 inning bets, the first inning bets, strikeout props. You know what I mean? There's just so many different things to bet, and if you really have a good research process and can appreciate the bad beats or the lucky the lucky hits day to day, and just not be too overreactive to single day or even week results. Yeah, I think it's a good sport to bet on. You just got to be patient and know it's a grind. If you know baseball, then baseball betting is profitable. I know a lot of the chats in this industry are pretty, or there's a lot of overlap. I don't know those trolls from the other night. So I don't know if you guys do. Maybe I'm a little bit out of the loop as far as participating in some of those chats, and I'm missing out on it. But it gave me Sean V vibes, but I know it wasn't him, obviously. But with Sean V, I knew he was still like he didn't mean it like you're an idiot. Those guys seem like they just have some weird vibes. Anyway, we're going to go Orioles offense 1 here, Blue Jays 2, Gossman, then Morton, but I'm likely not touching Morton. Probably not going to be that interested in Kevin Gossman, but we'll see. Orioles offense likely to generate a lot of interest after yesterday's explosion. Pirates at the Marlins. Next game on the docket, Pirates have a 4.4 implied run total. We're seeing some higher run totals today than yesterday. Marlins 3.8. Mitch Keller, Curtin Collin for Paul Skeens yesterday. Connor Gillespie for the Marlins. So Mitch Keller, we do have a lot of history on him, and we kind of know what we see is what we're going to get. 5 spring games for him, 48 pitches and 3 innings pitched against Boston with 5 strikeouts. He threw 71 pitches on the 10th versus Baltimore. Stretched out, fine. Strikeouts, not going to wow you, but he is going to throw strikes for the most part. Does have a home run problem. 2 left-handed hitters the last 2 years, an aggregate 1.5 home run per 9 with an aggregate 36.5% hard contact rate, very high line drive rate. And this is a Marlins team that right now projects pretty lefty heavy. There's a Splitty, Stowers at the top, Mervis, a couple names you just might not know. So maybe we can sneak a home run of a who's that, or even an extra base hit of a who's that, digging into Keller's weaknesses against lefties. But no one really projects as a super power bat, just generally speaking. Maybe Griffin in the 6-hole. He's got a 194 ISO against righties since the beginning of last year. Does strike out, but we can neutralize that strike rate here to some extent. Mitch Keller actually strikes out lefties more than righties going back to last year, and kind of has been the case for a couple seasons. So you're never too excited to load up on Marlins here, but healthy enough run total that I'm somewhat interested, and neither pitcher does a lot for me. I was trying to figure out what to expect from Connor Gillespie. By the way, is Connor Gillespie, was that like a trumpet player back in the day? I don't know why we're gonna call him Dizzy Gillespie if he gets rocked tonight, and he's just gonna stick with it. I was digging into his baseball reference page, just kind of get an expectation of what we might be able to translate to the major league level and performance wise, and it's kind of everywhere. But one thing that was pretty constant was a high home run per 9 and a high walk per 9. Does have the ability to get some strikeouts that we've seen. A lot of times the strikeouts are what I'm least likely to transfer to the majors, but walks and home runs will usually, if not translate 1-to-1, amplify at the major league level, and that could be a problem. He gave up 2 homers to the Mets in his last spring game, 81 pitches, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 7 Ks, and 14.1 total innings. But that Mets game was pretty rough, where he gave up the 2 bombs here. So Pirates bats to take care, to take advantage of a home run problem here. Just looking at ISO, big lane here, 2 through 5 of the projected lineup, with Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz, Joey Bart, and Andrew McCutchen. O'Neal Cruz would probably be the one that stands out the most. But like I said, Gillespie does have some strikeout acumen, but it's all over the place. And speaking of all over the place, he can throw the ball all over the place and walk people. And we do have some Pirates here that have a 9+% walk rate since the beginning of last year against righties, including O'Neal Cruz. So might be some on the base action as well. And I think a lot of that is baked in with this Pirates run total being 4.4. Can't imagine it's going to be very often the Pirates have amongst the highest run total on any given slate when they're in such a pitcher-friendly park today. Looking at the rest of the slate, they're kind of right up there. Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Red Sox. I mean, they're basically tied for top 3, top 4. Put it in perspective, 4.4 implied runs is higher than the Orioles. So there's some reason to be behind the Pirates here, and hope to scoop and score some fantasy points. 4,800 for O'Neal Cruz on DraftKings, but they do make the player pool. So let's go ahead and draw out a interest ranking for this one. You guys think this is a good idea? One of my self-reflective things after every stream is sometimes I feel like I break down a game and I'm like, I don't really have a strong stance on how I see it happening. It was like, yeah, I can see this, I can see that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'll get there, 8%, blah, blah, blah. I feel like if I at least rank my interest each game, it would be a little bit more, I accomplish a little bit more, especially from a viewer perspective. So if I rank this game, I'm going to go Pirates offense. Mitch Keller is probably going to be third. We'll go Marlins, Mitch Keller, and then Connor. But again, I'll probably need to color code this or do something where I kind of can express I'm not that interested in taking shots on Keller and Gillespie for DFS today. Dizzy. Basketball's still my favorite sport, but DFS and betting has ruined it for me over the years, combined with the current product. Yeah, Dude, I used to love football. I used to be a big Giants fan. As hardcore Yankee fan as I am, I was that for the Giants too. And I just fell out of love with the sport. But baseball is always good to me. Basketball, I was never this is my team fandom. I fell in love with basketball and really just followed everything. Um, I loved that Cinderella Thunder team with Westbrook and Steven Adams and KD for a bit. But for the most part, I'm free flowing when it comes to NBA. But baseball, man, baseball is just it's so beautiful to me. Today I can finally play Edwards. So go back to the Edward as well. Let's go. The ghost of Steve. What up, Catelza? What up, Pinstripe Papa here? Hope you're doing all right. Maybe some games aren't four corners worthy. Yeah, for sure. No, 100% for sure. I just wanted to have a way to... Yeah, okay, you're right. Maybe I just don't list people, right? Might have a... I'm not even that into Ray Gossman. We'll do that. I just want people to have something tangible when they hear me rant for 12 minutes and not really give a strong answer. Something tangible. They can be like, oh, okay, he put that there. Actually, I think on this screen... okay. You may not even be able to see the interest ranking, but this spreadsheet's available to anyone with a MLBgrind.com sub, so you'll see it on the right. We might find a better way to display that, but just something for now, yeah. We're fluid, man. We're fluid. Red Sox taking on the Rangers. Red Sox with a 4.4 implied run total. Rangers 4.3. We got Tanner Houck taking on Jack Leader. Interesting pitching matchup. That game was kind of weird yesterday as well. Garrett Crochet taking on Nate Eovaldi. Eovaldi did really well as far as real life pitching is concerned. And then, of course, living here locally in Texas, a lot of people are pessimistic about the Rangers bullpen. And there you go, game one. Eovaldi throws a gem for the most part, and the bullpen smokes it. 4 spring games for Houck. 86 pitches on March 22nd against Tampa Bay. In spring, he threw 13.2 innings pitched, 29 hits allowed, 7 strikeouts, 5 walks, 17 earnies. 10 of those, however, did come in his last game against Tampa Bay. Rough spring results-wise when you just look at the box score for him. 6 spring games for Jack Leader, 84 pitches on the 22nd against the Royals, 15.2 innings pitched, 16 strikeouts, no homers, 9 walks. So we do know old Jack has a walk problem. Aggregate 10% overall walk rate last year in the big leagues. A little bit of a home run problem as well. I think there is some strikeout stuff in him. It didn't really come to fruition last season results-wise, but we did see a 12.4% swing and strike rate. And we know pitchers like that have that raw talent that were highly touted coming up through college will take a couple years to kind of get where they need to go. Not everybody's Paul Skeens from the rip. So I think if you're a Rangers fan, you're willing to be patient here. I'm not that interested on day one, though, of picking on this Red Sox offense. Although they were pretty stifled yesterday, I still think there's enough talent in here that scares me. Wilyer Abreu did go yabo yesterday. 825 OPS since the beginning of last year against righties. There are some elevated strikeout rates, but a couple of these high strikeout guys also have a high walk rate, right? Costas a 31% K rate against righties last year, almost a 14% walk rate. So if nothing else, he is making you throw pitches, and a guy like Later, if he's missing the zone, could be a problem there. So immediately off the rip, I'm interested in this Red Sox offense. Pushing it back here, Houck, a couple years ago, I thought, this guy was the right-handed Chris Sale, right? He has that funky arm slot from the right as a right-hander, but we got a lot of innings last year out of him, 178.2. Sub 10% swing and strike rate. The called strike rate was pretty high, so he was getting his strikes. A 1-in-5 strikeout rate, but I I prefer to see double-digit swing and strike rate percentage. That tells me that he can earn those strikeouts in a pinch. So I don't know that his trajectory is going the way I want it, as far as someone that's betting on ceiling potential. And at 9,100 on Fanduel, I'm kind of looking for a shot at a strikeout per inning or more. But he is a strike thrower, low whip coming into the season. Now, reminder, his spring was rough. 29 hits in 13.2 innings via MLB.com is pretty alarming. The walks is kind of alarming as well. So I'll be watching that game, seeing if he's made adjustments, if he's getting going in the right way. Again, I don't overreact to spring training results. A lot of guys are just out there trying to find their rhythm, trying to find their velo, trying to get their pitch count up, get their conditioning. But that is something that did worry me in the research, because that's kind of all we got to go off of when it comes to trying to guess where these guys are when it comes to turning the bright lights of the show on in games that matter. Red Sox won for me, so I guess we'll go Rangers too. Not that excited in getting to the leader. Tanner Houck. Right now, I'm gonna leave him off for a little bit. I'm gonna see what that Rangers lineup comes out as. If for whatever reason, there's more left, way more righties, which I don't think there will be. You can make a case of his, 23% K rate, his high ground ball rate against righties. You can really lean into those righty splits to kind of steal a SP2 game from him. I don't think that's a wild stretch, but right now I'm gonna leave him off. Right now. Color code the spots you have interest in. Yeah. Sometimes I do like rankings and pool stuff, that too. But I feel like I want to make this as efficient as possible. And like I said, creating this is more for like a show note thing, just so I know that I at least answered a question about my overall interest in a spot or a player in said spot. Man, a lot of walk rates on this Red Sox team. Yeah, Red Sox offense for me here. They're kind of on par for me right now. Not gonna say on par with the Orioles, but I liked them the most from this game, that's for sure. Let's keep it moving. Astros hosting the Mets. It was a real shame that Juan Soto couldn't get to Josh Hader yesterday. I'll tell you, I was rooting for him. I really was. Really was. Tyler Maygill taking on Hunter Brown. Maygill, 17 innings pitched in spring, 88 pitches on the 22nd against Washington. He did have 18 strikeouts in those 17 innings, so that's a good sign for him to be a strikeout or over a strikeout per inning. That's what we like to see. He'll be up against an Astros team that gave Clay Holmes some fits yesterday, here and there. Expect him to be scrappy generally, and expect more of the same here today. Maygill has a rough xFIP coming into coming out of the last two seasons. A 4.2 expected ERA overall last season, 1.3 WHIP, kind of cleaning up the messes he makes. 27% K rate last year with a near 13% swinging strike rate. A couple of tournament metrics to gamble on, but at the same time, a lot of these metrics are a little scary, including a elevated WHIP and the expected ERA may be suggesting that he's got problems. And he's really cheap on DraftKings, 6K, 7,700 on FanDuel, 6K on DraftKings. Any pitcher with like a 24% K rate or better, on some slates you might take a gamble on to fit in some high-power bats in a highly projected run total game. I don't know that today is the slate that offers us that, so kind of just likely to project him for a little ho-hum total. Do we get double-digit fantasy points? 10 maybe. But I still think This is early enough in the season that I'm going to take my fantasy points from higher ceiling, better spot guys. So I'm probably not going to get to Megal here. Hunter Brown, 4 spring games for him, 10 innings pitched, 12 Ks, 12 hits, 6 walks. Very high ground ball rate in spring, similar to what we have at the major league level last couple of years. But he did have a 1.8 whip. That's pretty alarming, but he's always been kind of a high whip guy anyway. 1.27 last year, 1.36 the year prior. He also is a guy that can go out there and earn you some strikeouts. Now, this Mets lineup, that name Juan Soto scares you, but there is some strikeouts in this projected lineup. 3 through 9, Alonso through Torrens of the projected lineup, give you like an aggregate 1 and 4K rate. So if he can not walk people, and particularly against lefties, that is easier said than done. There is some, I think, tournament merit in looking his way. So I think he does crack my player pool, but he is priced to where he's got to perform especially on a Fanduel at 9,400. So I'm kind of not overly excited, but I am interested in the strikeout upside. So I'll certainly be on both sides of this game, Mets and Hunter Brown. But the 3.31 expected ERA, the 25% K rate, the 4.5% barrel rate to maybe stifle some of the ISO that we have on the Mets side is definitely encouraging. So he does make the rankings here. How do we set this? I think it would go Astros, Hunter Brown, Mets. And Megal, I'm probably just not there. So that's how we break that one apart. If you guys have any crazy thoughts on pushing back or pushing into like Megal, go for it. But I think that's how I walk away from this game research-wise. Let's move on to the next game, Athletics at the Mariners. Jeffrey Springs taking on Luis Castillo. Athletics have a 3.3 run total. Mariners 3.8. Fun game. I feel like that game was more fun for me than I ever thought it would be. But I think it's just because I love Luis Severino from the Yankee years. 6 spring games for Springs from the Department of Redundancy Department. 81 pitches on March 22nd. 14.1 innings pitched total in spring. 20 hits. But 17 strikeouts, 3 homers, 6 walks. So kind of all over the place. What we do know about Springs, I think he came from Tampa. He does have high swing and strike rate stuff, but he was also kind of a bullpen piece. And I always say, bullpen relievers that are converted to starters kind of expect some diminished returns on swing and strike rates and stuff like that. With that said, Mariners do offer up some strikeout potential, as we saw yesterday, and they offer up a lot of low hit for average upside, for lack of a better term. Only Donovan Solano and Julio Rodriguez have a little bit of green in their average against lefties since the beginning of last year, and a sub-4 implied run total kind of does make Jeffrey Springs a little bit interesting. Ironically, for a left-handed pitcher, when I saw that it wasn't populating lefty splits from the spreadsheet, I knew what that means is the sample size against lefties is below the minimum that I set. So when I went back and looked at last year against lefties, just 6 innings, so 18 outs against left-handed hitters, 250 average, 6 strikeout per inning, and a homer allowed. No sample size, that's why I have a minimum. But I thought it was like kind of weird that the lefty was seeing exponentially more righties as a somewhat a reliever. I guess he did. Did he start? Anyway, and then we look at the year before in 2023. Same thing, 4.2 innings pitched at the major league level against lefties. So my spreadsheet's not pulling lefty stats because of the minimum, but I'm not too worried about that. So the strikeout stuff is there. I am interested in Jeffrey here. So let's create an interest ranking. And let's go. Well, let's talk about Castillo first. 5 spring starts for Castillo, 16.1 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, 3 homers, 4 walks, 74 pitches against the White Sox. So should be stretched out relatively enough. He coming into this season after boasting a 3.91 expected ERA, a 12% swing and strike rate, 24% overall K rate. This is an Athletics team that boasts enough strikeout potential, half and half, that I'm interested. But JJ Bleday, Miguel Andujar, Gio Urshela, and Jacob Wilson, strikeout rates aren't asinine. But with that said, 8,300 on DraftKings for Castillo. I'm certainly interested. Castillo's main bugaboo the last couple years, lefties. An aggregate 1.85 home run per 9 the last 2 years against lefties. The hard contact rate through the roof. If he sees this particular projected starting lineup, only 3 lefties there. And ISO is, I guess, Lawrence Butler. Out of those lefties, Lawrence Butler, Soderstrom, I guess there is some ISO there. A little bit of pop. So those are the guys we really need to sweat. If we get 3 or less lefties, we could really key in on this 29% overall K rate, and a team that shouldn't be that great. It's kind of a bad news Bears situation, right? So I'm actually going to put the pitchers in front of the offenses for me in this matchup. So we're going to put Castillo 1, then Jeffrey Springs, and I'll say the Mariners offense a little bit more intriguing, but guys like J-Rod, Cal Raleigh, Randy Arozarena, Mitch Garver. I mean, these are definitely some lefty poppers. Look at this, 260, 212, 218 ISO against lefties. So we have seen Springs serve up some homers against righties last year. That would be the lane for me there. So Mariners are certainly in the mix for me. But those guys do come with some strikeout potential. So I think I go Mariners offense. I'm likely not going to stack the Athletics here. Yeah, I know. Like only pure cane sugar and Mountain Dew. Is that the same Max Muncy that it was on the... Okay, so no. There are 2 Max Muncies in baseball. It's weird. And they were both drafted by the Athletics. So I will say, if you are a subscriber of mine on the premium side, sometimes pay attention. It may not be showing the right stats. It is one of the more annoying things of spreadsheet keeping when it comes to so many people in the league. Like there was a pitcher and a hitter named Luis Garcia, little quirks like that. But this one's really kind of bizarre that Max Muncy, like that seems like such a non-common name. And then they were both drafted by the A's, and sometimes they're going to be on the same slate, and it's going to really be annoying for stat presentation. So no, that's not the same one that was on the Dodgers, because that one is still on the Dodgers. Spreadsheet life. All right, Padres hosting the Braves. Braves have an implied run total of just 3.3. The Padres 3.8. Reynaldo Lopez pitching for the Braves, 72 pitches against Detroit, 11 innings pitched in 4 spring games, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, 12 hits. None of that is anything that I am interested in. So I don't think I'm pitching against the Padres here. Dylan Cease on the bump for the Padres, 19.1 innings pitched in spring, 26 strikeouts, a 109 whip. So that's what you like to see. He is in a tougher matchup, right, perceptually. But I think on today's slate, he might be, top 3 talented pitcher. So immediately into the interest rankings. Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, all guys that present some scariness. 1 through 4 has a aggregate 800 OPS, but kind of falls off a cliff after that. But I'm just kind of leaning on talent in a positive park. And this game, unlike yesterday games, and we could kind of say that a little bit more with these West Coast games now, the nighttime games are going to play a little bit more pitcher friendly for the most part in some of these parks where it's not sunshine at 4 p.m. Especially when we get into like the marine layer type stuff on the Cali side, right? So give me some Dylan Cease at the top of the totem pole here, and then absolutely give me some Padres. Padres actually have a low enough run total that makes me go, what? Oh, that's another thing about spreadsheet upkeep. And some of these symbols on the Latin players' names, it likes to mix stuff up in the spreadsheet. I think that's exactly what's happening here. Actually, so let me try something. Live data. Ronaldo. Lopez, yep. Find and replace. Ronaldo Lopez. Let's go all sheets, replace all. And for my next trick, we now have stats for Ronaldo Lopez. 27% K rate last year, 12% swing and strike rate. Pushing a 4 expected ERA. Certainly outperformed his actual ERA. 135 innings of sample size, a 9% barrel rate. Some encouragement that he might get back to a positive strikeout number, but the lack of missing bats and springs is alarming, and this Padres team is scary. Fernando Tatis led off yesterday for the Padres. He said that last year he wasn't healthy. Now he is healthy, and you might expect him to steal more bases. So this should be a fun, a little bit more scrappy Padres team in the post-Soto era, and if they lead them off, they lead them off. But this is a low strikeout team against a guy that struggled with strikeouts in the spring training. However, this is a team that's going to swing. Only 3 of the Padres' projected hitters have a 9% or better walk rate against righties since the beginning of last year. So give me some C's, give me some Padres. I guess I'm probably going to sit this one out on Ronaldo until he shows me something. And just kind of maybe we take a couple cracks at some of these Braves betting on talent. It's not necessarily playing the matchup here, but playing the talent. Going from that N and N, yeah, dude. The O's, the N's. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of meticulous things that we gotta fix. And for like Excel coding and Google Sheet coding, there's fixes, there's workarounds. But we have to find the problems right now. It's like beta testing the first week. Find out what needs to be made more efficient long term. And I think finding and replacing all is good Band-Aid short term, but long term, I don't want to do that. Cubs and D-backs. Cubs have an implied run total of 4 runs. The D-backs 4.7 high on the slate. Chase Field. In the last couple of years, we've seen them kind of go from a hitter's park to a pitcher's park, but that kind of plays or rears its head more so in the summer when they close the roof and the air isn't as open as we likely get early on. I'm looking at my second screen to see if they announce anything. I just assume the roof's open the first couple months in Chase Field, and that's good for offense. It's also good when you got a contact pitcher like Jameson Taillon on the bump for the Cubs here. He had 3 spring games, 83 pitches on the 22nd, 8.2 innings pitched, 4 homers, 10 strikeouts, a 1.5 whip. So I'm probably not likely to be that interested in Taillon, who in and of himself is just a contact pitcher, generally speaking. But he's going against a contact team in the projected. Just Eugenio Suarez has a K rate over 20% against righties since the beginning of last year. So no thank you, former Yankee great Taillon, which immediately puts me in to some Diamondbacks interest. Not much to not like here. 1 through 5 is the meat and potatoes here, but Ketel Marte, just an elite switch hitter at the top of the order, and then you get into Eugenio Suarez, and you can lean more on that 221 ISO and away from that 26% K rate when you look at Taillon's 8% swing and strike rate and sub 20% overall K rate. So Eugenio Suarez certainly cracks the will he dong question. Taillon's biggest home run weaknesses the last 2 years, really ever, has been against left-handed hitting. An aggregate 37.5%, 38% hard contact rate to lefties with an aggregate 1.8 home run per nine. Yeah, a little of that is going to be kind of like park-induced at times, but as somebody we've been able to track for years, I think that's going to play everywhere, and I think that looks like Corbin Carroll is in for kind of a fun opportunity tonight, and he might be an early look for a homer. Another thing about Corbin Carroll, and I'll look at some metrics here in a minute. Yeah, Corbin has produced against the cutter at a high grade the last couple years. Corbin Carroll is somebody I'm interested in. Corbin Carroll, I'm I have a I'll open up the live data and looking at like base running. Actually, let me just pull up Baseball Savant, kind of show you guys. Let's go to leaderboards, base running run value. So when people think of base running, a lot of times they just think of stolen bases. But it's a little bit more than that in terms of overall value. It's, will you make a double out of what a lot of people make a single? Your aggressiveness, does it pay off? Corbin Carroll, aggressiveness does pay off. He is the best graded player in the league when it comes to base running runs. So creating that aggressiveness on the base pass, and that's good for not only him and his fantasy value, but a lot of times for the guy batting behind him. Runs via extra bases taken, 9. So legging those doubles out, legging those triples out, that's what you like to see. 10 advances, no throwouts. There's just a lot of eliteness that a lot of people don't really talk about when they look at a guy like Corbin Carroll, and I think that should be not slept on. It's definitely baked into his price here, $5,800 on DraftKings, but he's in a really, really nice spot against a contact guy that has power problems against lefties. So right to the top of my interest as far as an individual play here, but D-backs are looking really, really good. Merrill Kelly, 5 spring games for him, 45 pitches in his last game against San Francisco, 13.1 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts, 4 walks. He did allow 3 homers in his last game. If you're worried about that 45 pitches, he threw 66 pitches on the 12th against the Angels. Probably somebody around 80 pitches. You kind of know what you're getting out of him. Has a higher strikeout rate to righties the last 2 years. This lineup looks like it's going to be half and half. If you do get a couple more righties than you expect, 28% K rate, you might steal something in this lineup that does produce a couple of really, really high strikeout guys. But for the most part, not expecting the world out of Merrill Kelly. I will kind of bet on the park here over Merrill Kelly and put the Cubs offense above him in my rankings. And I'll sleep on whether or not I include Merrill Kelly in the pool even at all. A big problem for Merrill Kelly in this game is going to be a guy named Kyle Tucker. 14% K rate against lefties last year, a 5 xFIP, a 142 home run per 9. That dog is not going to hunt against Kyle Tucker's 343 ISO against righties. Almost 200 WRC plus and a crazy walk rate, and that might dig into Merrill Kelly's 10% walk rate. So really, really good spot for Kyle Tucker here to come through. I'm interested to see what the bomb detector has on Tucker early on. Let me resort. He is at a 389, so he's up there. He's not at the 4, but he's up there. Ohtani, Devers, Betts, Ozuna, Abreu. A couple of fun names up there. Maybe come up with a grading system for pitchers and lineups. Okay. Okay. Jason Hayward is on a team in my bio. Billy Hamilton is eating soup in kitchen working at labor force. There's a couple guys not on the team right now that kind of make you wonder. Like Anthony Rizzo, right? It's like, man, I get that it didn't go for. I don't know if it's his decision or the league's decision, though. Certainly feels like a vet that gets a phone call when an injury happens, right? We got one game left on the docket. Take a pause for the cause. Let you guys know. If you guys want access to the spreadsheet, the worksheet as we are researching games, you want to be able to research games yourself or see the adjustments when lineups come out, any additional notes, stuff like that. It's a work in progress on what I want to guarantee that I offer, but you will get the index portal, the bomb detector, the pitch report. I'm going to add the bullpen usage chart, all that kind of stuff. If you guys just want to be able to research stuff conveniently and not in another language, if you know what I mean, you can go to MLBgrind.com, click premium membership, and try a week pass. That'll get you the spreadsheet. It also gets you into the MLB Grind Discord, which we got like 6 or 7 of y'all have signed up. So I definitely appreciate everyone that has signed up. If nothing else, with YouTube not monetizing the channel for a while, we got to build up our watch time again. It's just a good way to kind of support the stream in addition to anything else. Another good way to support the stream is just engaging with the video, those thumbs ups, those comments, those chat engagement, stuff like that. So if you want a little bit of extra and show some love, MLBgrind.com, that'll get you behind the wall. Let's go to the main event tonight. Tigers at the Dodgers. Jack Flaherty taking on Yoshi Yamamoto. This is technically the second start for Yamamoto on the season. They played in Japan against the aforementioned Cubs, which he started, he threw 5 innings pitched on March 18th, 72 pitches, 4 strikeouts in 5 innings from the Department of Redundancy department. And then the Tigers are throwing Jack Flaherty. 4 spring games for him, 14 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts, 79 pitches in the last 2 spring games. So he is stretched out and ready to go. Unfortunately for him, he is up against the Los Angeles Dodgers and one of the healthiest run totals on the slate. And it don't matter who you are for the most part, you're going to be interested in Dodgers offense, especially against right-handed pitching. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, all guys projecting pretty well early on in the bomb detector. And this is just an offense that we want to get behind. And if you get into that Tigers bullpen early, it's better for the Dodgers, right? So we'll put 4.6 there. So Dodgers offense is number 1 in the interest ranking. For Yamamoto, I think he's going to slide into that number 2 spot. He is facing a strikeout-prone Tigers lineup. That aggregate strikeout rate since the beginning of last year against righties probably at a 22-23%. And yeah, Yamamoto didn't get a bunch of strikeouts last week, but we can kind of lean on the overall long-term stats. 90 innings pitched last year, 12% swing and strike rate, 28.5% K rate, a 1.1 whip, just really, really sharp numbers. I'm still not expecting Dave Roberts to go crazy with pitchers early on, but guys making their second start, they got a chance at 6 innings, and maybe you still that quality start over there on Fanduel, where he's decently implied for the win. Minus 222 is by far the largest and heaviest favorite on the entire slate. So maybe Yamamoto is just kind of your safety net on FanDuel if you're just looking for some points, the likeliness of a win, and like I said, second start, could he still that win bonus as well. So let's put Yamamoto as number 2 in the interest rankings. And I'm not really likely to pitch Yamamoto. Last year, he had homer problems with righties as well. A 1.7 homer per 9, a 35% hard contact rate. Maybe a little bit of unluckiness as his barrel rate was linear to the year prior. But this Dodgers team is just so good. There's no real reason to split hairs and overanalyze. Certainly some strikeout potential in Jack Flaherty if he gets near that 30% from last year. And there is some scarier or some strikeout potential in his bottom half of the Dodgers lineup. But man, I just don't think I would feel great about it, and I can't see him having an epic game to where I want to sweat it too much. So in the small term, the shorter entries, 20 lineups or less, don't see a reason for me to need to stretch and get to a guy like Flaherty. So that's my read on that one. Dodgers number 1, Yamamoto number 2. Not likely to get to any Tigers. I will say, I think I just saw Kerry Carpenter's name on the bomb detector. 3.84. That's not crazy. Usually 4 is where we're looking for, but Kerry Carpenter is an interesting name to see. 48% fly ball rate from Yamamoto last year to lefties, 32% hard contact rate. Probably had a high infield fly ball rate if he only had a 0.4 home run per 9 on those numbers, huh? Let's go look at that. Yeah. Splits. Batted ball, lefties, no. Where's that? Not right. Yamamoto against lefties. 14% fly ball rate. Why does that say 48% fly ball rate? We got to fix something. M213. M213. AR to BJ. This is the meticulous stuff, the errors we're finding early on, yeah. AR to BJ. Hitter versus lefties. Fly ball. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, pitcher. Okay. ARBJ, we go up here. BM to CE. So we have it pulling the wrong column for Yoshi. I'm glad I just looked at that because that didn't feel right. BM to C9. And then we got BM to CE 90. BM to CE 9. All right. Yeah, I'll fix that for Carpenter's projection because that's wrong. All right, so that is our slate here. Now, now that we've discussed every game, going back at what we're interested in, I think D-backs, Orioles, Red Sox, and Dodgers would be the 4 teams that scream at me the most. And that's probably in line with ownership. So let me take a peek at ownership. I like to do the research before looking at the ownership. Sometimes you look at ownership, you get a little spooked, or you get peer pressured into respecting the play a little bit more. So I'm just a little bit curious. So I'm gonna but if you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to look up, whether it be on PrizePicks or fantasy, we got a little bit of time here to go kind of scoop out some stuff. If you guys are looking for any prop picks, you're looking at strikeout props, anything like that. That was a good time. Throw them in chat. We'll do a little bit of research on it. See what we can't find. I alluded to on the first stream. I don't go too crazy in the first week, but there is an edge to attacking the unknown, getting some better payouts. But yesterday, I think my projections was pretty much in agreement overall with a lot of the lines that were set. I think there was one spot where I was on Clay Holmes strikeouts and he didn't hit. Or for the most part, I wasn't that different than the industry. So looking at pitcher ownership projections on DK, looking like it's Yamamoto, Cease, Castillo, Hunter Brown. So I think Yamamoto, Cease, Castillo, that's pretty linear with what we said. Hitter wise, looks like a lot of Dodgers. D-backs are it's up 10% for a lot of players. It's looking like Dodgers. A lot of people looking at the Dodgers tonight. Can't really blame them. Ownerships are likely to be a little bit more inflated versus yesterday just because of how much smaller the slate is. But I kind of like what we've discussed and where we're at so far. So give me that. All right, chat, where are we at? I know still fluid, just some feedback. I like this time streaming gun, if not going to stream at night. Yeah, dude, I'm going to be honest. I was a zombie yesterday. Real life and getting this launched and doing the breakdowns and then trying to do some other stuff. It's a lot. So I am looking to get us a little bit more on a set schedule soon. I don't hate the idea of Midnight Madness, so people have something to go with on in the morning, and I don't have to compete on the airwaves with so many other programs. But yeah, in this first week or two, it's gonna be a little bit consistently inconsistent. So I know you guys used to be able to just look at me at like 3 p.m. and all right, Guns Live, let's go. I would like to get back to a time slot that works well. But man, it's crazy out here right now. So give us a week or two. We'll see how it plays out. But I that's feedback I'm looking for. I want to know what you guys like, what you guys think works best. Just still trying to think of the big picture, the overall picture, and also not kill myself because it's freaking. There's just so much that I'm involved in right now, not just for DFS, but behind the scenes. You know, we talk about wrestling. I make content for other stuff, but baseball is a high priority for me, and I'm making a commitment this year to really grind it and definitely make sure that anyone that gets a subscription at MLBgrind.com feels like it's worth it. So if you do sign up, you get in that Discord, hit me up, man. Let me know what your goals are in the bubble of sports betting and DFS, and I'll try to make sure that we can tailor some content for that. But I guess that's it, man. If you guys are out there chilling, your interest rankings could be called year in or year out. All right. I love that you guys still remember me for years to come. But yeah. I think ideally I wouldn't hate the night before stuff, but there are going to be some slates. So tomorrow is like an early lock with a ton of games again, right? So that might mean that tonight is the better opportunity to break that down, and then we'll just kind of play it. But yeah, give us a week or two to kind of get everything going. We got to still finding some bugs in the sheet, still trying to create some processes to be more efficient and stuff like that. So that's gonna do it. Also, I'm gonna be looking to have some more collabs coming forward to have some more fun. I know I watched my boy Terry. I'm sure Terry will be streaming today. If you guys are looking for more intel, we'll reach out to him, see if we can get a collab going, maybe once a week type of deal. A lot of people were asking for that in the first stream. So a lot of fun stuff planned. Season is young. Let's have some fun tonight. Let's make some money tonight. Twitter.com/Gundacker if you got anything else for me. I will be in the Discord. I'm probably going to go out for a couple hours, and I'll try to make it back to the desk maybe 2 hours before lock to tighten things up. So if you guys are in the Discord, yesterday we were in the voice chat. If you guys want to chat it up, I'll be there. And you're free to join the voice chat and, kind of speak freely, ask any questions, and just do some research with the homies. I'll catch you guys probably later tonight. Probably. But, yeah, probably later tonight because tomorrow's going to be an early slot, early lock. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money. Where's the screens? Where's the screens? God dang it. There it is.